And hello, everyone, and welcome to the Sports Connection. I'm Steve Toby, and the baseball season in Morris County did not produce a sectional state champion, but it was a great season. Some memorable teams, some memorable performances, particularly Roxbury winning a third straight county title. A great regular season run by Morris Hills until they lost Lou Santucci, their pitcher, to an ankle sprain. Still a great year for the Scarlet Knights. Del Barton, the preseason #1, still gave some teams some fits, beat a good Bergen Catholic team in Parochial A. But Hapatcong certainly came through with a season most people did not expect, finishing 26-2 under Toby Richards. And tonight we look at baseball with Joe Hoffman of the Daily Record and the Coach of the Year in the Daily Record, Toby Richards. And gentlemen, welcome to Sports Connection. Joe, great to have you back again. This time in the Springtime Sport recapping. And Toby Richards, memorable season certainly for the Chiefs. Your first couple of years were building blocks. But as you said, the young kids, the guys that were seniors this year, learned their lessons as freshmen and sophomores.
Yeah, they were a very enthusiastic group as freshmen. They played wiffle ball. They go out in the park and play. They talk baseball, and you know, got us through a lot of losses. Myself through a lot of losses, and you know, the benefits came, you know, all season long this year for those kids. It's great.
I mean, you were known as an assistant at Randolph, a player at Parsippany Hills, and the Hapatcong job came along. It was an opportunity you couldn't pass up, just to be in charge of the program.
Right. You always want an opportunity, and I got it, and I'm glad I've done what I've done with it. And not only, you know, it's a lot of hard work, and it's just a credit to those kids and just everybody that's been involved. Even the kids that took the losses throughout the years, you know, they helped establish, you know, just what everybody was looking for, and you know, the results are there now.
Joe, not really a difficult decision on Coach of the Year in Morris County with Toby Richards. Some fine teams, no sectional champions, as we said, but a memorable Morris County tournament, and the fact that Roxbury again surprised some people. Although was this the most talented Roxbury team? I'll put you on the spot.
Well, I thought so. They had a Carl Nonamaker kid who's one of the best kids to ever come out of this area. They had two good pitchers. One of them being Corey Hammond, who pitched with amazing poise. In the final against West Morris, I believe he didn't walk one batter, which is pretty significant. He's a 17 or 18-year-old kid pitching under the lights with a lot of fans there, and he maintained his composure enough to not walk one. You know, the Rob Piccolo kid was another good hitter. Al Carl was a good hitter. I would venture to say that this was the most talented.
And up the middle, defensively, Brian Eberly at second base, Justin Spargo at shortstop. The young catcher Pike came along, and of course Nonamaker in center field. They're pretty strong up the middle defensively.
Right. They rarely beat themselves, you know, except for the Columbia game. They showed up to play every game. It'd be interesting to, you know, you wonder how far that team could have gone if they had just gotten the Columbia game behind them.
Let's look at Joe's final top 10 in the Daily Record, which our viewers may have read about a week or so back, and capped a great season. And you look at the teams there, and Roxbury, Hapatcong, West Morris, Randolph, down the line. We're going to begin at the top, Joe, with Roxbury, and a team under Bruce Chattel, which equaled his father, Harry Chattel's record of 3 county titles in a row. Harry doing it from 75 to 77. Bruce doing it now with 3 in a row, with a 9th seed, a 14th seed, and this year the 4th seed.
Yeah.
4th seed, and certainly not an easy feat in any season, but this year they did it in a year where they also had an incredible week, that final week of the season, playing Toby's Hapatcong team, knocking them off, playing Seton Hall, I think, a 9-inning game and losing.
With
and
their
facing
number 9 pitcher, whatever,
right.
Hurd, whatever
how many
number
pitchers
pitcher
can
he
you
was.
throw?
And he pitched a great game.
And then Columbia with 16-4, they lose.
16-4, Josh Barber got hit hard, but he's a sophomore, and, you know, maybe he'll grow from it. But it's ironic, you know, Columbia last year lost to Randolph twice in the regular season and then beat Randolph in the sectional quarters, and then Columbia lost twice, this time to Roxbury, and then Roxbury lost this time to Columbia in the, was it the quarterfinal of the...
The great thing about baseball, a team like Columbia, which is middle of the pack of the Iron Hills Iron, a great league, but the Cougars, not a vintage team under Jerry Battaglini, but still come through. And Carl Nonamaker of Roxbury, the premier player up here, Associated Press All-State his sophomore, junior years, and you look at his numbers and you look at what he does. We're going to show you a clip here. First, a triple he hammers to left center field against Morristown in a regular season game. Then we're going to pick up the play-by-play on a sequence with Bill Bromberg carrying us through the county final. A bunt a steal, a delayed steal, and he comes home on an overthrow, and then a home run. Let's pick it up here.
Lefty against lefty. Goes to bunt down the third base line. That one is going to stay fair, and it's a base hit.
Yeah, this guy can do it all.
But you know something, Steve? He's doing you a favor when he bunts for a single. Here we are now. Carl struck out in that at-bat. Pitch out, throw back to first, and now heading for second is Nonamaker. How smart a play was that? He was not swung on a miss. Fake throw back to second. Now they have run down, and the ball is thrown away. Nonamaker will round third, and he will score. Well, 2-2. Drilled deep to right. Back goes Kunstwich, near the line, way back, and this one is gone.
And the hitmaker does it once again. An insurance run for the Gales. And there you see at the top 10, Carl Nonamaker, Toby Richards. He's one of the top players, certainly, in the history of Morris County.
He's one of the best I've ever been around. We played him last year up at the Skylands, and we had a 5-0 lead going into the top of the 7th, and I had to take my pitcher out because of innings, and it came all the way back to 5-4 with Carl batting, and there was a runner on second, and Bruce and I are great friends. You know, it's a non-conference game, and we decided to pitch to him, and sure enough, he laces a triple down the right field line, and he runs right through Bruce's stop sign. He was going for the win, and we threw him out at home plate. And you know, just watching that sequence there, and just the pressure that whole team puts on you when you play them, you've got to be ready for anything. And Bruce has just done a great job in instilling a lot of confidence in that club, and it shows. I mean, we had them 6-3, and you know, a lot of teams we played this year disappeared when we did that, and not them. They fought back and knocked us out.
You wrote a lot about Brucey ball and the delayed steals, the bunting. That's the great thing about high school baseball. You don't see in the major leagues, certainly, or very little, that kind of ball, but it makes such a difference.
And they do it so well. The bunting in the semis and in the finals, you would think you'd think it was Phil Rizzuto or Brett Butler. Every bunt was perfectly placed. The kids, it was almost by script. They did everything that they were supposed to do, by and large. But one other thing on Nonamaker, if he was, let's say, a poor student, he's a very good student, and he's going to Vanderbilt, and it says a lot about his mind. But if he wasn't going to college at all, he would have been picked in the top 10 rounds of the draft, I've been told. You know, so that's what the major league scouts think of him. But they're not going to they're not going to waste a draft pick on a kid who might not sign. So they just stayed away from him. But he's that good.
Fundamentally, he has all the tools to make it to the next. Certainly. Maybe a future minor league player, if not a future major league player. You can't tell that kind of potential. Health and injuries, that kind of thing enters into so much of it. Right. The Hapatcong season with Toby Richards, as we talk about the #2 team, 26-2, and Toby, you won your first 23 games, right. And that Roxbury game, and we're going to show some highlights in a little bit from the Glen Rock in the sectional final.
Right.
After an incredible game, well, first we'll start off talking about this game with Ramsey. Joe, you said it was the most exciting game you've ever seen.
One of the most.
Colin Wells, right. A little guy gets up and hammers a grand slam home run over the center field fence. And Toby, as far as the excitement of that, has it ever been matched in a Pac-On baseball?
Never. Never at all. It was a situation where, you know, we had lost the Roxbury game, and we were going to see if we could come back. We didn't. We won our last 3 regular season games, and then this built up to, we were winning the game 7-1. It was very comfortable. And Ramsey fought back, and took the 9-7 lead. And now we're faced with, what are we going to do? We're going to come back, we're going to fold. And we had 5, 6, 7, you know, part of the order where most of the year 1 through 4 had done a great job for us. And we got a walk, a base hit. Jay Margolin batted. He pulls a ball, and Jay hasn't pulled the ball all year for a base hit, and that set the stage for Colin. And you know, you're looking for a hit just to keep the inning going, and sure enough, they had made a pitching change, and he jumped it, and it an ecstatic moment for the whole town of Apacon. I think it was probably heard throughout Apacon, let me tell you.
A half hour
Yeah,
after
Joe
the
was
game.
there.
Half hour after the game, there
celebrating.
were people still in the parking lot. You would have think they won the Super Bowl or something. They're honking their horns. It was really something.
Terrific, terrific. Not so terrific was a trip, well, a game against Glen Rock, and a game our Cablevision cameras caught up with, and we're going to start off here as we head to the top of the first, and pitcher Rob Bailey of Apacon was on the mound. Certainly the ace for the Chiefs all season long. There you see Rob throwing against Glen Rock, and Mike Torpy was on second base for Glen Rock as Brent Nichols would be at bat. And Nichols would slap one for a base hit, and that would bring home Brent Nichols from second base. 1-0, Glen Rock led. And up came Tom Dombrowski. And Tom would stroke one in the gap to left center field, and this certainly proved a big hit, bringing home run number 2. And Glen Rock was in business at 2-0. Now we're going to head to the top of the third. Toby Richards out to talk to his pitcher, Rob Daly, and runners on first and second for Glen Rock. And that would bring Jerry DeRost to the plate, and Jerry, fine all-around athlete, would come and hammer one for another base hit, and that would bring in Matt Palouse with run number 3. The high throw, and there's Palouse sliding in. It was 3-0. Runners on second and third. Andrew Mapps at the plate. And a wild pitch would bring home run number 4. Apacon led 4-0. And we head to the bottom of the third. Matt Purcelli on the mound for Glen Rock, and Apacon with runners at the corners. Dan Sherlock at the plate. The shortstop and all-area DH would blast one, and both runners will come in as the ball sails over the center fielder's head from Glen Rock. And Apacon had cut the lead in half at 4-2. Apacon fans thinking comeback. Anthony Petrock on the mound for Apacon, but Glen Rock would answer back in the 6th. Jerry DeRost and Andrew Mapps at the plate once again, and Mapps base hit. This one a triple going all the way to the fence, and that would bring home run number 5 for Glen Rock, and they went on to the victory 8-2. And Toby, a game where Glen Rock, which proved the team certainly in the clutch, they gave Audubon a great game in the Group 2 state final, but certainly not a memorable day for you, but you lost to a good club.
Yeah, tough loss. The check swing in the first inning was difficult for us because it was a real good changeup that Rob threw, and the kid just got it over Pete's head, and the run does score. We go out and talk about not letting those 2 guys come in, you know, keep this at 2-0, and the kid gets a base hit. We overthrow the catcher, everybody moves up, and now you have another hit. So they really like manufactured all the runs real well and took advantage of every mistake we made. And in that type of game, you can't make that many mistakes, and that's exactly what we did. And, you know, it didn't go our way that day.
Great thing about baseball is the fact you never know. You can have great pitching. Randolph last year, Delahanty and company losing in the county final, losing in the first round of states to Columbia. And that's the beauty of the game at the high school level. We're talking baseball here on the Sports Connection with Toby Richards of Apacon and Joe Hoffman of the Daily Record. And we'll be back with more, looking at the final top 10 and look at some of the state tournament results when we come back. And we wish all the folks from Mama good luck in the future, and all the student athletes of Morris County as well, a great organization. We get back to our subject of the evening, baseball, wrapping up the high school season with Joe Hoffman and Toby Richards. And Toby, the Apacon rise, and we're going to show a graphic here. It's an amazing rise through your 4 years, and as you said, that freshman class in '95 certainly matured in '98.
Yes, they did. And just looking back at those numbers, when you take a program, you say you want to build one, I think that those numbers there show building, and hopefully throughout the, you know, the under levels also, a program has been established in the town of Apacon.
And Joe, I'm trying to remember where you had Apacon in the preseason. I think I'm like number 8, is that right?
6.
Top 10? 6?
10.
Oh,
No, get out of here.
The coach remembers well. But the Hoffman top 10, which we don't have in front of us right now. I know you had Del Barton preseason number 1 and the Green Wave had a fine season, not quite up to expectations, but Toby's team certainly had to surprise you a bit.
And they did, but as the season wore on, you realize this is a very good team, and after a while they weren't a surprise. Early, when any season starts in any sport, specifically with a program like Alpacong baseball, you really, you wonder how good are they? Okay, well, let's see. And you stick them in the top 10 down the bottom and let them earn their way up, and they did.
You had, what, an 11-win in 11-day streak, something like that?
Yeah, we ended up playing 11 and 11, and that tested the pitching staff. But the other thing that this team did is they 10-runned 11 opponents. So when you're only playing...
Sounds like Clifton softball.
Yeah, you're playing 5 innings, you can save your pitchers a little bit. And, the rule's there, and if it's there, then you got to take advantage of it. Especially when you look at your schedule and you look at the weather, you say, wow, we're going to play all 11 of these games.
You need your pitchers to be strong.
And we did it.
And looking some of the achievements of Hapakong this year, along with Toby Richards being named Daily Record Coach of the Year, the best record in school history, won the first 23 games, 18-0 in the Sussex County Interscholastic League, and the first undefeated team since Sparta in '81. That's got to be an achievement, Toby, that you're particularly proud of.
Sure was, because I didn't realize it. And the kids had found out about it. And the Sparta coach at that time was Gene Mendes. And believe it or not, the night that we had got 18-0, when I got home, the first phone call I received was from Gene.
That's nice.
And he said I couldn't be any prouder of a school or a team to do it, which really made me feel good, because now he's an umpire in the SCIL, and he's seen us a couple times, and it was just great.
A couple of the individual guys that showed up on Joe Hoffman's Daily Record All-Area team on first team, Pete Toto, the second baseman who had a tremendous year, is going to Salisbury State.
Right.
Take a look at some of his numbers. Matt Bone, who's going to County College of Morris. Some great statistics put forth by these two young men.
Yes, these two good spark plugs. Pete at the top of the order, he's our leadoff batter. Our team went as Pete went, and he's a real good competitor, fierce kid, and Matty was our RBI guy. I mean, he came up with guys on, and he had 35 hits and 38 RBIs, so, he was always knocking guys in for us, clutch hitting us.
And as we've said, in baseball, the junior college route can be a very successful way to go. You hope Bone does that. County College of Morris, maybe move to the next level, the four-year school as a junior.
Right. Matt, baseball-wise, could play at a four-year school. I think more academically, he has to make some decisions as to what he wants to do and take some liberal arts credits, and, instead of making a tremendous financial commitment, you can get both at County and Morris, and I think he's going to be very successful.
I think it was the pitcher Jack Armstrong from the Cleveland Indians who pitched in an All-Star game. I think he went to Brookdale, I believe, and then ended up, of course, making it to the major leagues. So junior college, not only you save money, but it can be a great baseball training ground.
Right.
And then go on to the next level. You look at the statewide scene as it ended, Toby, and Glen Rock certainly gave Audubon a real run for its money. We'll look at some of the baseball state final scores, and there were some impressive results. Some surprising teams in there at the end. Steinert over a very good Bayonne team. Toms River South over a Milburn team that had upset Cranford in Group 3 in that Section 2 race. And the Toms River School, not known for its particularly great pitcher, but Toms River South coming through. I mean, East and North, of course, with J.M. Gold known for their pitching. Audubon, a great, great baseball town. Told me that Glen Rock team really battled back in that game.
Yeah, they were down 6-1 through 5 innings, and they came back. And they got it to, they actually tied the game at 6-6. And then Audubon scored a run on 2 errors.
In the parochial ranks, a St. Joe's team, which our cable vision viewers had a chance to see against Bergen Catholic in the Bergen County tournament. They went on to beat Seton Hall Prep and then won the parochial championship, beating Bishop Eustace this past Saturday. And those kind of runs, Joe Hoffman, you don't know when a team has it in it. Look at Randolph with Delahunty and company, that had the perfect regular season, couldn't get it done in the county and state finals. Still a great year, but you don't know if a team's going to have it in the bank when you get through the state tournament.
Right. Well, oftentimes in high school baseball, you'll have one team win a division championship, and then maybe the second or third place team get hot and win either a county or a sectional title. Sometimes that's just the way baseball is. That's what happened with Randolph last year. They were 24-0. They were ranked in USA Today. They were really up until the end of the year, they were as good as any team really that ever was in Morris County as far as records and who they played a demanding schedule, and they did very well against it, and then they just happened to fall apart at just the wrong time.
Morris County had mixed results in the states. Our team, West Morris, which is a great traditionally strong team under Bud Weeder, made it back to the county finals, and we'll look at a couple of brief highlights here. Joe, talk about West Morris this year, a team which had not hit the ball that great, but certainly came through and getting back to the MCT final.
Well, usually they were the kind of team that would outslug you. This year they did it more with pitching and defense. Jim Cooney was a good pitcher. Jonathan Stern missed part of the season. He was another outstanding pitcher for them. Defensively up the middle, they had the Nick Rossi kid at second, Tom Garatina, catcher, among others. They were more solid defensively than in past years. They didn't hit the ball, but they kind of proved that defense and pitching can go a long way too.
And Toby Richards, you teach over at Randolph. You know that program pretty well. Pete Litichevsky does a great job with the Rams, a talented team once again. They've sent on some guys, obviously Delahanty to Rutgers, Dave Worst to Montclair State, and another good club. And the ball bounces a certain way. They could have maybe been in a state sectional final.
Sure, Randolph kids are great. I teach there, and then I go up to a Pac-Hung and coach, and I think more this year for them was a couple of big fielding lapses more than anything. They got real young pitchers, and the Eric Nigro kid was a freshman. He threw some great games. Doug Smith was a sophomore who threw some real good games. And, Jeff DiCarlo can only pitch so many times, and he, finished 7-3. So, they're going to be there.
Well, guys, I can't believe this half hour has gone by all too quickly. Didn't even get through all of Hoffman's top 10, but we talked a lot about the top teams in there. And Toby Richards, a great season at Pac-Hung. We wish you good luck with really a rebuilding team, in a sense, next year with great underlevels.
We'll see. We'll see.
After that great 26-2 campaign. And Joe Hoffman, thanks again for coming on. And
thank you.
We'll see what you have to do with football now as we head into the summer. All our area viewers certainly love that sport. And next week, as a good segue, because we're going to talk about the North-South All-Star Game. Don Smolin from Lenape Valley, and Joe Hoffman will be back, along with some other distinguished guests. Thanks for watching on the Sports Connection, everybody.
That ball was hit, looked like a fly ball, and just kept carrying and got out of here. I mean, he had a good swing on that ball.